So
Well, who did they go through?
they weren't. I don't know, but they weren't. But so then Trump he accidentally almost said, "Yeah, the Israel will lead on this," and then he realized, "Hey, we can't have that. No one leads. We're the leaders," and he kind of corrected himself. But so they've temporarily they've avoided a war. Jackson Hinkle credits Tucker Carlson and Tulsi Gabbard on Twitter. Tucker did tweet it out. He did say this was. So we'll see. Nobody voted for wars in the Middle East. Nobody voted for the United States to give more money to Israel. Well, maybe some people did.
Widow Adelson did.
But nobody voted for MAGA did not vote for us to be bombing Yemen and Iran and to be in bed with Al Qaeda in Syria. No. So we'll see what happens. You have to take it into account that if the New York Times is printing it and they're quoting high-level sources inside the administration, that the administration wanted this release, this information. They wanted this story to get out. So it's propaganda for a purpose, for a reason, for some reason. And they went against, Benjamin Netanyahu's big ask. You know what's funny is I read a story that said that, Netanyahu wanted to talk to Trump and encourage him to bomb Iran. And Trump was like, "Hey, I don't want to talk about it on the phone. Come to the White House. And he did. So I get why he doesn't want to talk about it on the phone. I get that because the NSA and the CIA have his phones tapped. That's why.
Yeah.
And then they just release it whenever they want. So he's got to do all of his negotiations face to face. Anyway, okay, so we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. So congrats to the Trump administration and Tulsi and Hegseth and J.D. Vance for at least for the time being avoiding World War III with Iran. So we'll see what happens.
It threw me for a loop because of that old Hegseth footage where he's like, "We've got to strike them now."
Yeah,
like, we do.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see the White House tech something guy who said we can manipulate time and space?
Yeah, did you see that? Oh, I want to get.
What the hell does that mean?
So that plane, that MH17.
Yeah.
So there's a credible guy,
Ashton Forbes. I follow.
Yeah.
I follow him on Twitter.
I follow him too.
Yeah.
He follows me. We should have him on if we can. Let's get him on Monday.
Yeah, I messaged him because I have all these
What's his name
questions
again?
about it.
Ashton Forbes.
Okay.
And he says that plane, they literally made it disappear. They have figured out how to shrink time and space and open up wormholes. And he has
Those
a video
three
of
plasma
it.
balls.
The three
It's
plasma balls. Yeah.
and they create a magnetic field. It's like some weird trampoline
Yes.
effect. And,
Yes.
Anyway, but I don't understand. That's not the biggest news in the world that guy said that.
And
then Trump said we have all these secret weapons. Nobody. So do we have something better than hypersonic?
So what that guy Ashton Forbes is saying, it's better than nukes.
Yeah, I should say so.
And that
Time manipulation.
Yeah. So let's have that guy on Monday. We'll show the video. I mean, he went on with Redacted and Benny Johnson, and so he's going to be on Tucker in 5 seconds. So let's get him on and talk about it. He follows me on Twitter, so we might as well do it. Sure. Is it easy to find on Twitter? Yeah. See if we'll come on Monday and talk about it. All right, Steph, read some super chats for a second.
All right, Mr. Jim. Sure will. Corn Pop, the baddest dude, hashtag repeal the 19th. Savage, wait till Jimmy finds out about optical chirality.
Chirality?
Chira.
Yeah, chirality.
Chirality. Thank you.
I don't know what it means though, but I know chirality is how you say it.
Oh, thank you.
When were you last there at all? I've never been. You've never been?
Somehow it got loud.
I like it loud. Oh, did it?
Yeah, we have to have the balance, Jimmy.
Oh, you want to?
Yeah,
balance it?
we just don't do our tech here willy nilly, Jim.
That's a straight fact.
How's that?
It went downhill when we left Paradise, Savage says. East London isn't really London.
Jimmy Dore.
Thank you, Jimmy, for that chime.
East London, it's not really London?
Yeah, that's what Savage has to say.
No, that's not true. I've been there. It's London
What do
for
you mean?
sure.
What does he mean by that?
I don't know what Savage means. I just read them. I don't try to interpret the sense of them.
We've been there.
Okay.
It's definitely London.
Is that like their Long Island to him?
Ha!
Douglas Murray had
It's definitely working
Oh,
class. It's
okay.
Yeah,
definitely
it's EastEnders.
East.
like
Yeah, it's definitely. But now it's being gentrified. I mean,
Mhm.
every people can't
You can
afford
show
to live
Jimmy.
there again, just like every place. So
Finally.
finally, yeah, you know they made it. I don't know how working people afford. Well, they can't. That's the whole problem. People can't
Yeah.
afford property anymore. Not only here,
Nor
but in
should you.
Canada too, eh?
I've never been Jimmy, I don't have a goddamn thing, and I've never been happier.
I was watching this thing. I was watching this clip of Joe Rogan, that guy who did the Mama Fuku or whatever. Is it that
Yeah.
guy? The guy
Oh,
with
he's a weirdo, and his face was painted red.
and he was
Bottom
talking.
half like he just ate somebody out on their period.
I didn't see that one. This is with that one. This was maybe,
David Cho.
but this guy had a bunch of like Fu Manchu hair on his face,
Yeah, David Cho.
and he was talking about how he talked to Anthony Bourdain right before he killed himself. You know. And Anthony Bourdain was like, "Hey, you're really successful, and I'm really successful. How come I'm miserable?" Right? And they were like, "Yeah, I'm miserable too. What's going on with this?" So it turns out, I guess being successful isn't the thing. That true happiness isn't external; it's internal.
Is that like news to people?
I think so. But there certainly was to those two guys.
I mean, if you kick a heroin habit, I thought that you kind of had to figure that out to get past the heroin habit, which
Yeah.
Bourdain did.
Well, they say there's a certain level of income. Like when they did the study, they said it was $75,000, but that can't be for everywhere. So I would say like and if you have and when they did this study, which was I don't know how long ago, probably 5 or 10 years ago, that if you up to 75%, up to $75,000. The more money you make, you're happier. Like if you have 50,000, if you make 60, you're a little happier. Make 65, a little happier. So, but at 75, it stopped. And then the more money you made after that, it didn't do anything. Right? I mean, there's nothing worse. I was a blue collar poor comedian most of my life. I had enough money to pay my bills, and that was it. But I was always worrying about my bills. Worrying about getting sick, paying doctor bills, worrying about if my car broke down, I would have to buy another one, all that kind of stuff, and rent. And so once you don't have to worry about that, then that's it. The more money you get doesn't make a difference in your life. That's according to the studies.
Right.
So,
yeah, no less stress makes you happier. I deduce that.
Yeah. But it's a very low threshold of income. It's not a high. It's not like
they're studying that. You know why they're studying that? To figure out what level to keep the people just below at all times. That's why they pay for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like if you have $1 million, you're not 10 times happier than someone who has $100,000. That's not how it works. It just stops. Isn't that interesting?
Yep.
I think it's very interesting.
Well, because money can't grow your dong.
It's
If it could, we'd live in a different world.
Yep. It's nice to know that Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates don't have any more access to happiness than we do.
Well, I would say Jeff Bezos at least keeps his body fit with his muscle shirt and
Did you ever see a
jeans and his wrench.
You ever see a video of and his wrench? You ever see a video of him from like 1999 when he first started Amazon?
Looks like a Bill Gates type creature.
He's a very Bill Gates, very doughy, squishy. He almost swishes as he walks.
Yeah.
And now he's, Dr. Evil, fucking Thor.
Dr. Evil was he in that good of shape?
I mean, yeah, you're right. That's a bad.
He's transhuman now.
Yeah, but he's like this buff. But he's got biceps. He's so there's. I think he took steroids. What do you think?
Okay, you can go right now and get prescribed TRT.
What's
Guess
that?
what? TRT, testosterone replacement. So if you take low dose testosterone, which is like a performance enhancing drug if you're a professional athlete, if you're young. But when you're old and you're not producing testosterone, you're not getting the same. It's just it's giving you a hormone you didn't have before. You understand?
Yeah.
So now just so you know, if you go to one of those clinics, you definitely qualify. Like if I go, they're going to tell me, oh yeah, you need it. Like I also probably need gender affirming care. If I show up, guess what? You qualify.
Yeah,
because it's expensive.
I need gender affirming care, but I need male gender affirming care.
It's called TRT.
I need
TRT is cisgender affirming care.
Yeah, I need cisgender affirming care.
You know, how, like Bob Dylan's an old lady.
Joe
now,
Rogan
everybody becomes
Rogan. Oh, Misha says that Joe Rogan takes TRT.
A lot of people take it.
Well, if he takes it,
RFK,
I should take
100%.
it.
RFK is 70.
Oh, I bet he takes it.
He's got a body like Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. I should take it then.
Well, why not?
I bet it would make me feel better.
Yeah, no, it 100% will.
Okay. All right, Seth, read some super
Why
chat.
will it make you feel better? TRT.
Because you lose man hormone going through your body and you're old.
Yeah, because I have less of it as you get older.
You know how eventually everyone transitions into like the same sex?
Yeah, that's why women lose their estrogen, men lose their testosterone, they become asexual as they get older.
And that's when they get short haircuts?
That's when women get the short hair. Yeah, the hair starts to
Right.
go
They're
up.
like, I can't tell what I am anymore. I got to go short.
We're all going to transition eventually. Look, that's just what it is. But
I'm looking forward to it, fellas. All right, let's see. Wow, fatty, fat. I just read that one. Okay, keep it to yourself. All right, here we go, ladies and gents. This from Eric. Douglas Murray had the Kyle Kalinske transformation from
I noticed
to
that.
blonde.
I noticed that.
What'd you say?
Charles Murray dyes his hair now, looks like.
Douglas Murray.
Blonde. Or yeah, Douglas Murray. Who's
Charles Murray's the bell curve.
Yeah, that's the other guy. That's the racist scientist.
Wesley, with Easter coming up, Jesus dying on the cross was his lived experience. Rising again 3 days later was just his experience. Please send Douglas Murray some pearls to clutch. Wesley! Thank you for that one, Wes. Please highlight.
If you want to get, by the way, if you want to get all Zohar Kabbalah about it, your lived experience is the serpent that lies to you, that winds itself around your tree of life and convinces you that you're it, because it's the sum of your life experiences, like a snake. So it's really they took Gnosticism and plugged it into academia and took the Gnostic bullshit out, but it's still bullshit.
I didn't know that. Thank you. A kid at heart. Or I usually say what, Akita? All right, please highlight the more perfect union story from this week regarding Planetaire, the new deep state. It's eye-opening regarding more big tech and government takeover to spy on people and control us. Oh.
It's a slimmer, more Doge efficient deep state. So that's what Steve Bannon was saying. The city-state method. It's like, why don't you let us run things? This like tech banker.
Oh, right.
You know, remember the Renaissance? It wasn't a Renaissance for everybody, but for the people it was Renaissance for, that's because they had that system.
Hey.
Oh, back to Jimmy.
So Donald Trump, if you see this right here, that's called covid.gov. He just revamped the website. Donald Trump's White House just revamped and they got all kind of stuff. Let's look into so this is the new website. The true origins of COVID-19. This is what it says. If you go to covid.gov, and then it has right down there, it says, before COVID-19 was discovered at the wet market.
The wet market.
Yeah, those markets were totally dry by the time this all came out.
She's like...
And here we see Anthony Fauci checking his breath before he drops to his knees to give Satan a blowjob, and thanks for a pardon. This is all up at covid.gov now. This is up too. It says a full and unconditional pardon for any offenses against the United States which may have committed or taken part in from January 1st, 2014. That's what the pardon of Anthony Fauci says. They now the Trump administration has put this up with this picture at
Wait, that's just legal argle-bargle, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Remember the Rachel?
Yeah. So the Department of HHS, Health and Human Services, obstruction. Again, now RFK's in charge of this agency. The Biden administration's HHS engaged in multi-year campaign of delay, confusion, and non-responsiveness in an attempt to obstruct the select subcommittee's investigation and hide evidence and disfavored narratives such as the lab leak theory in a shameful effort to coerce and control the American people's health decisions. When those efforts failed, the Biden administration resorted to outright censorship, coercing and colluding with the world's largest social media companies to censor all COVID-19 related dissent. And again, all the people I know in independent news are too big of gutless cowards to actually even talk about it. They just pretend it didn't happen. And they pretended it wasn't happening while it was happening.
Well, Kim Iverson did. She got fired off the Hill.
Right. So there was Joe Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
There was this show and Kim Iverson. Russell
you name? Brand said it.
Who?
Russell Brand.
Oh, and Russell Brand. That's right. Russell Brand.
Look for that.
And look what happened to Russell Brand. Can you think of another show that bothered to cover this stuff? I can't think of another show. And this all comes from the House Oversight Report from December 4th, 2024. And that's now when you go to covid.gov, that's what you see, what I just showed you. So good on Trump for doing that.
I know. It's very strange to see a thing I like after a thing I don't like so quickly.
Yep, isn't it? So it's a mixed bag with the Trump administration. Mixed bag.
Oh, Redacted said it.
We're at Redacted? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Redacted. Oh, Tucker Carlson, but he was still on Fox.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the one guy in the corporate media telling the truth. So good on Redacted, good on Tucker Carlson. You know what? I know Max Blumenthal also.
Yeah.
I'll give it to Max Blumenthal.
They put up a good Bukele report on Gray Zone yesterday. It's very good.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. You know how it seemed pretty cool at first? It might not be that cool.
It turns out he's not as cool as you think. Turns out
it turns out once you get absolute power, they've renewed their emergency powers that he's using 27 times.
Yeah.
It's not a good sign.
And what Bukele would tell you is like, well, we went from the most dangerous country in the world to the safest. Yeah, but at what price?
You're going to go to Fire Fest in a minute, buddy, because there's such a crypto country that I think the money that he, when they promised the money's going to roll in, I think the money might be because they're a spare Guantanamo now. And I think that's my guess from what I watch in Max's thing. I haven't finished it, but I'll bet you whatever bonus they're getting for taking prisoners from America, he's going to need that to prop up whatever the hell he's doing with his, And then meanwhile, Malay just pumped and dumped a crypto coin to everybody, to people in America.
I know.
He just hawked to it, America, by the way. People invested in his dumb coin.
That's the Argentinian president.
Yeah, he's a Chabad convert.
All right, over to stuff.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. Oh, big bells. Can't Facebook just slap 5 solar panels and a couple windmills on the top and power their data center? Or does green energy only work for poor people's energy needs? And Paris, thank you for that
Sustainable AI now. That's a great point.
Right? No kidding.
Yeah.
The Bell Curve, Intelligence and Class Structure in American Life, 1994 book by psychologist Richard J. Herrnstein, and the political scientist Charles Murray is Doug's father and reason for his fame. Savage.
Wait, what? Wait. What? Douglas Murray's dad is the guy that helps write the Bell Curve?
Yes. The Bell Curve, Intelligence and Class Structure in American Life, 1994 book by psychologist Richard J. Herrnstein and the political scientist Charles Murray is Doug's father and reason for his
that's
fame.
Fascinating. By the way, I have a question to people, and his dad is not a neuroscientist. I've heard people say it's unfair that he's racist because he was saying, well, maybe it's environment. He didn't make any claims on if it's environmental. But my question is, what is the use of averaging together a race's IQ? Like, what is, in real terms, how is that useful to do that? How's our bean levels?
That's a straight fact.
Okay, $800 million before inflation, Savage. Replace Satan with Abraham and Bob's your uncle. Rahman. Savage. Thank you, Savage. Brewdog, let's not forget that Biden never renegotiated the Iran treaty that Trump ended. P.W. Walker, New York Times leaked this Hexeth Iran story to help foster the illusion of chaos in the White House. This leak didn't come from the White House. P.W. Please post your soundboard on your website, Grasshopper21. That's funny. Do people do that?
You've never been.
You are all sleepwalkers. Already dead, JP. Woo, we are. Wait till they collapse our monetary system, Jimmy. And that was Ed. Rubber toe. One day, Jimmy's big pharma, and the next he's advocating taking another drug to enhance virility. My script: eat right, exercise, fuck more, or jack off a lot, in my case, and watch porn. Rubber toe, you seem to have a lot of balance in your life.
Testosterone is not
That's
a drug.
Jimmy.
Testosterone is not a drug. It's a hormone that's naturally occurring in your body, and then your body gets depleted of it as you get older because we're not supposed to live this long. And so it's not a drug. So that would be my response to that. But I point taken.
All right, back to Steph. Okay, here we go. I want a gain of function t-shirt. Spyron. Kamala's husband uses Viagra for gain of function. Oh, boom. Thank you for that one.
They're getting a divorce. That's not cool.
Are they?
Yeah.
No. No way. Is Kamala really getting a divorce?
That's the last I heard.
Look, Misha, look it up.
All right.
Do you know Jim Florentine, the comic Jim Florentine?
I do know him.
He went to school with him.
With
they were in the same little league. He said the guy was really weird with chicks.
Doug?
And everybody didn't like him.
Didn't he hit a woman in public?
I think one of his ex-girlfriends.
Like I said, he's weird with chicks.
Not like
the guy's weird with them.
Not like when he was drunk in high school, but like when he was a grown-up man, sober in public at a public event, and he smacked some women around, right? Am I right?
He said, "I'm speaking."
Hey, do you ever remember that? Who was the Sean Connery when he went on Barbara Walters?
Got to slap a woman.
Sometimes you gotta slap her.
Barbara Walters like, "What did you say? You would slap a woman?" He goes, "Right. Sometimes you gotta slap a woman."
You gotta.
He said it like no shame.
Like no. It's like, oh, you gotta get her. I mean,
I slapped the shit out of him. Well, that's remarkably forthcoming, Mr. Connor.
Hey, we gotta. Could you hit our gong? We got a gong.
I'm gonna hit it right now.
Slap the gong.
How nice that sounds.
Oh, that's nice. I thought it would sound more racist.
Hit it again. It makes you want to. Yeah, whatever
Give
that
it a
is,
good slap.
it makes you feel relaxed right away, right? Kind of like.
Yeah, it's a smaller gong, right?
Oh no! Check out this gong, dude.
Look how big it is.
This is from our good friend Michael.
Give it a good whack then. So
Give
I
it a
can
good
really
whack.
hear it.
I am giving it a good whack.
Really?
Hit it.
Nice.
Hit it in the middle. There you go. This makes you want to meditate.
Oh man,
Doesn't
I want
it?
to try to hit that gong as hard as I can. See what I can get out of it. Use this like a strength tester.
This is our friend Michael that gave it to us. I believe we were in. Was it co-host, Michael? Were we at co-host? I think so. I'm pretty sure. And this base nation said Fauci's wooden little asshole is going to know what it's like to be a real boy. Ooh, that sounds
maybe not.
Maybe not.
All right, back to Jimmy.
Hey, guess what? You know that other countries get their pharmaceuticals way cheaper than the United States.
Yes, I've been to Mexico
and Canada
drugs.
And Europe, right? ASPE contracted with Rand Healthcare to carry out 3 studies analyzing data on U.S. prescription drug prices and availability in comparison to drug prices and availability in other organization for economic cooperation and development countries. In 2022, the United States prices across all drugs, brand names and generics, were nearly 3 times as high as the prices in comparison countries. So they say 2.78 times. That doesn't that equate? I'm not a math surgeon, but isn't that almost 300% more? When they say 2.78 times, that's 200% 0.78 times. Am I right?
Are they averaging those together? Because I can tell you this. I'll give you an example of a drug. I got prescribed Provigil, you know, the Obama pills. I used to have 2 writing jobs at one point, and was getting no sleep. My doctor gave me Provigil, which is it's a drug for narcolepsy that you can take, and a lot of doctors take in med school, and it inhibits what makes you tired. It's not like an amphetamine, okay? So I had good insurance paying for it, so it was very cheap. It was like $10, but you don't see it in the street ever because it's like $900 out of pocket to buy this Obama pills. If you go to Mexico, you get them for $15 a pack of like a lot of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's all weird Byzantine insurance reasons and whatever. Yeah.
So U.S. prices for brand name drugs were at least 3.2 times higher. So that's over 300% as high as prices in the comparison countries, even after adjustments for estimated U.S. rebates. Most new drugs were available first in the United States before being launched in other countries. So we launch them here in the United States, send them to other countries. They're then cheaper by like 300% in the other countries.
And by the way, calling it a launch, I like that. Like it's a PlayStation. No, you mean they experiment on us first?
So drugs are always cheaper for countries that don't get uppity, if you know what I mean. But guess what Trump did? So you know how they made it illegal for you to go to Canada and get your drugs because it was cheaper? That's what senior citizens used to do. They would go to Canada.
Was I breaking the law the times I've done that?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, now Trump just signed an order to help states import low-cost medicines from other countries.
Whoa.
Yeah. By the way, that's if you look, that's Charlie Sheen's safe room.
That's just one wall of it. There's other stuff in there. Oh, wait. So he signed an order. So you're telling me that this issue, somebody could have signed an order this whole goddamn time?
Yep. Yes.
Well, what do you know?
President Donald Trump signed an executive order on April 15th, that's tax day, that directs a wide range of actions to lower the cost of prescription medications, including through the importation of prescription drugs from Canada by the states. States have been authorized since 2020 to import certain drugs from Canada, where they are now available at a lower price under Section 804 of the Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act. However, approval from the Food and Drug Administration, that's the FDA, is required. And that process is complex.
Meaning corrupt.
Yes. Florida is the only state now authorized to import drugs from Canada. And that approval process took more than 3 years. So they always so people in California always like to disparage Florida like it's some kind of backward, crazy.
Right.
And of course, they got COVID right. They got the lockdowns right. They got monoclonals right. And look, they're the only state that is able to import drugs cheaper for their people.
They probably got the most old people.
That's right. That's right.
California is also a state that hates the elderly. I mean, just like at every level, everybody's trying to never be old, you know?
Yep.
And Florida's got a lot of elderly, and it's harder to trick them, you know?
Yeah. Trump's order instructs the FDA to improve the process and encourage states to apply for authorization to import medications.
I mean, if you're not their grandkid.
An analysis by health research group KFF found that per capita spending on prescription drugs was 42% higher in the United States than in Canada. Per capita. Three items in the executive order aim at lowering the cost of drugs already available in the United States. The first action is to revisit the Medicare drug negotiation program, which was authorized. So do you know that by law, Medicare, the government organization Medicare, was by law not allowed to negotiate drug prices with Big Pharma? That's how corrupt your government is.
No, I'm sure there's a good reason why you're not allowed to negotiate the price.
They weren't by law.
No, it can't be.
So then, in the Inflation Reduction Act, they made it okay to negotiate the price of just 10 drugs for Medicare. The program allows Medicare to negotiate with drug companies to reduce the cost of brand name drugs. But how many of them? The initial round of lower prices involved 10, just 10 prescription drugs.
I remember this.
That's what they were only allowed. And that's when Joe Biden goes, we beat Big Pharma.
Yeah.
You've been sucking Big Pharma off
right away.
your whole career.
Yeah.
And now you're allowing Medicare to negotiate the price of 10 drugs, and you call that a win instead of a win for Big Pharma and corruption?
Well, they might have given him a large payment for his 37 mortgages. Maybe that's what it is. Like the Biden family beat them.
And a second round of 15 drugs will be available for Medicare beneficiaries at a reduced price. But we have to wait till 2027. Yeah. So then we'll have a total of 25 drugs.
Because you know how they come to that idea? They're planning for a bunch of old people to die out from not affording drugs. And someone is calculating that. And that's why they're like, okay, in 2027, you can have these 15 drugs. Because they know exactly the numbers on that of who has what and what they need. That's why they know how to overcharge. You would think it's like a bonanza of grabbing money, but these assholes have venture capital waiting for their investment back. So they've calculated all the excess ahead of time by 7 years. You understand how evil it is?
Yeah, I understand how evil. You don't even have to know what you just said to know how evil this is. A White House official told reporters that the Trump administration is going to improve the program and make it even more transparent. So they're going to improve this program where Medicare gets to negotiate the prices of drugs that they give to old people.
It wouldn't take much to improve it, though, would it?
That just shows you how completely corrupt your government is. A second price-lowering action, this is the second thing Trump's doing, aims to make Medicare payment for prescription drugs commensurate with the supplier's cost. No kidding.
You have to enforce capitalism. You have to enforce the capitalism. That's unbelievable.
Currently, Kurt, Medicare pays as much as 35% over the actual cost of the medications. A third provision for lowering prices directs that steps be taken to ensure that Medicare pays a comparable price for prescription drugs regardless of where they are dispensed.
The mafia was less corrupting than this. Do you know we have sell-by dates on milk because of Al Capone, because his niece got sick?
No kidding.
And he's the guy that forced that, that forced having the dates on milk. The mafia did that.
How about we lower the price of eggs now? Especially since they are also currently loaded with pharmaceuticals. How about that?
That's how I get most of my flu shots, from my eggs.
Yeah. From my chicken. And currently, Medicare may pay up to 60% more for a drug dispensed at an outpatient clinic than for the same medication dispensed at a doctor's office. What does that do? Well, it gives an incentive for providers to drive traffic to higher paying locations.
Oh, like how having private prisons creates an incentive for gangster rap. Yeah.
And so the fourth action that Trump's doing is he directing Dr. Oz, the administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, to further reduce the price of insulin. Currently, the negotiated price is $35 for insulin. A White House official told reporters that based on the new order, low-income and uninsured patients may be able to receive insulin for as little as 3 cents per vial, plus an administrative fee. Injectable epinephrine may be available for as little as $15 per auto-injector. This order will achieve that by ensuring that all discounts on insulin and epinephrine that the government offers to healthcare providers are passed on to consumers.
This sounds like socialism.
Sounds like socialism. Other provisions of Trump's order aim to lower costs by improving the drug development and approval process. First, the order directs the FDA to streamline the approval process for generic and biosimilar medications. That could reduce the price of medication for some patients by as much as 80%. You believe that it took Trump to do this? It took Trump to do this. Currently, there is a backlog of generic and biosimilar medications awaiting approval. No kidding.
Well, why would you need to go through a whole new process for the generic version that is exactly similar?
Because here's how, because Kurt, how explain to you. Because Big Pharma bribes the FDA, and the people who work at the FDA get bribed and then go immediately to work for the pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
So they're incentivized to write these rules that protect Big Pharma's profit. That's why. It doesn't make logical sense, but it makes corruption sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. I understand how people, the idea, hey, so Medicare is not allowed to negotiate. Like, that sounds fair. Like somebody accepted that.
Second, Trump's order directs Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. to work with Congress to address what the administration sees as an imbalance in the emphasis placed on the development of some highly expensive drugs. Small molecule medications are produced from chemicals, are less costly, and can treat a wide variety of ailments. Ibuprofen is an example of a small molecule medication. I mean, considering that they're just spraying these drugs on us like bugs now anyway from the sky, it makes taking a pill seem almost like archaic, doesn't it?
I get my drugs through mosquito bites now, Jimmy. Yeah. I live in the future.
Large molecule medications are derived from living organisms, or are most costly to produce and are delivered by infusion. Gene-based therapies, immunotherapies, and hormonal regulators are examples of large molecule medications. The current system encourages companies to invest in developing more expensive large molecule treatments over less costly alternatives. That's the current system. Isn't that something? One element of Trump's order cracks down on the practices of some brokers in the prescription drug supply chain. The order directs the Department of Labor to set rules concerning the disclosure of broker fees for prescription drugs. In some cases, employers hire a broker to negotiate prescription drug fees on behalf of their employees, but the broker may act against the employer's best interest by accepting fees from the pharmacy benefit manager that it recommends. It's 100% corruption.
What a pile of shit we live in.
100% corruption. Provisions supporting this rulemaking are included in the Consolidated Appropriations Act, but have not been fully enforced. So Trump. So again, I had to go to Zero Hedge to find this story because I guess MSNBC, CNN, and Fox don't want to give, or the New York Times don't want to give Trump credit for actually doing something that seems criminal if you don't do it.
Right. Well, they're all sponsored by Pharma. The same reason that Sanjay Gupta had to be a blithering idiot on Rogan's podcast.
That's right.
And then say he thought he was going to get beat up.
Yeah.
That was his excuse because Don Lemon was about to hit him with a phone book, to not leave bruises. Yep. And he goes, no, I thought Rogan was going to attack me.
So now you know the rest of the story. Your government's completely corrupt, and Trump is the one getting rid of some of the corruption.
It's not going to be that much better.
Kind of shocking, isn't it? Kind of shocking. Well, I don't know what. I'm not. Let's see. Let's see what happens. I can't
believe how bad it was.
It's not gonna get worse. It's gonna get better. And with guys like Dr. Jay Bhattacharya and people like RFK Jr. and Dr. Marty Makary in charge, I've got a lot of confidence in those guys.
Hey, now that Israel's done with their genocide, now maybe we can focus on this stuff.
Maybe.
So,
we'll see.
The glass is half full.
All right, over to Steph.
All right. Somebody asked, why didn't Trump do it his first term? And I think it's
because he had his head up his ass.
Surrounded by a bunch of, just bad advisors. And
by
like
the way,
Jimmy,
the good things he did the first term are just like this. His H-1B visa thing he did is, I think, like genius. They're claiming that we need those H-1B visas to stay competitive with China, the people flying cars. And Trump said, well, then you have to pay them more than Americans because they're so valuable. And the company said, well, we can't afford that.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to stick with Americans.
And a Democrat judge struck it down. So I didn't know he did that until this H-1B thing came up again.
Oh, I didn't know this. Send me an article.
I would have defended that had I known at the time.
All right, here we go. Rachel Rodriguez is trying Fauci criminally. She was on Z Media and Alex Jones. She'd be an excellent guest. Thank you for that one, Hempcar. Jimmy, the Irish stallion, Palestine for Palestine. Thank you. Of course, if you were going to release an engineered bat coronavirus on purpose, the smartest place to do it would be right outside a ramshackle bat coronavirus engineering lab, preferred in a country you hate. Bunny Ripley. Thank you, Bunny Ripley.
Oh, it's a conspiracy theory. Namaste. It's 3:00.
It's 3:17. Michael, I believe you gave me. I can't. Jeepers. I haven't been able to give you a proper thank you because I didn't see a return address on this. We love it. Thank you so much. Okay.
Never been.
Amy Goodman of Democracy Now! Had Peter Hotez on as the expert to smear RFK
she's garbage.
regarding
Amy Goodman's
RFK
garbage.
measles stance. Peter Hotez
as
the expert.
That's Cenk Uygur's hero, Amy Goodman, who is garbage.
This is a distraction, Jimmy. He's fast-tracking another mRNA vaccine for bird flu, and that's from Yoshi. Yoshi, thank you for that. We were reading about that as well. Thank you. All right. And Hemcar, we also have Rachel Rodriguez is trying Fauci criminally.
Thing to do with her?
She was on Z Media.
Yeah. What?
Luna Lager, you've never been. Bunny Ripley.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure.
Let me switch something then.
Bunny Ripley, pretty sure Charles Murray is not Douglas Murray's dad. Charles M. has an American accent and no mention of him on Douglas M's Wikipedia entry. Bunny, thank you for following up with that. People who get sick from flus and colds are those who are taking vitamin D3, who are vitamin D3 deficient. That's why flus are seasonal. The body creates D3 from sunlight entering it. And people tend to stay inside in the winter, Polly.
A lot of truth to what whoever's saying that is saying.
That's Polly. I disagree with Jimmy's mixed bag verdict. The Trump administration is appallingly even a couple little good things thrown in. I wouldn't be surprised to learn Trump has nothing to do with this. Rubber toe.
Okay,
I get it. You're supposed to have healthy skepticism. That's what we're supposed to have. We're supposed to go, okay, it's not perfect, but isn't it progress? I mean, it certainly is. I got to tell you right now, if you have an aging parent and you're trying to take care of them and they need any kind of prescription, it's a maze. And so you want to make it more accessible and cheaper, financially accessible. Weird with chicks or with weird chicks? That's from Grasshopper. Dig it. COVID compensation for everybody. I freaking love that idea. And it should come straight out of Big Pharma's pockets and Fauci, because he's gotten, what does he have, a patent on most of the stuff that he's supposedly researched. Douglas Murray's father was a civil servant and his mother a school teacher. I know, right then I sounded like a drunk Pelosi. Douglas Murray's father. Okay. Loony by nature.
You've never been?
That was all over the chat. Maki, people hate the truth because it shatters their illusions. Nietzsche. Am I mistaken, or isn't both the Biden and Harris marriages are the results of them committing adultery? Rubber toe. Thank you for that, Rubber toe. Luna Legger. Thank you, Luna Legger. All right. I got through all of those, Jimmy, just so you know.
Okay.
All right, back to Jim.
So there's a new FDA chief, and we're really lucky to have him. His name is Dr. Marty Makary. And he just announced, this is from Holden Colada's Twitter feed, he just announced a tsunami of groundbreaking reforms. Big pharma insiders are going to be removed from FDA committees. What? There were big pharma insiders on FDA committees in the first place?
Well, that sounds like a conflict of interest, Jimmy.
Sounds like it. The FDA is going to end Dr. Fauci's cruel animal testing. And Maha is about to change everything. So let's get to... So if you don't know who he is, the Trump's FDA pick made his name by bashing the medical establishment. Soon he may be leading it. Dr. Marty Makary rose to national attention by skewering the medical establishment in books and papers and bashing the federal response to COVID-19 on TV. Now the Johns Hopkins University surgeon and researcher has been nominated. No, this is an old thing. He is the head of the FDA. Mm-hmm. He's called the U.S. food supply poison, says the federal government is the greatest perpetrator of misinformation about COVID-19, and regularly suggests that pesticides, fluoride, and overuse of antibiotics may be to blame for the rising rates of infertility, attention deficit disorder, and other health conditions. Well, if I was this guy, I would get a food taster and a robot to start my car in the morning. That's all I'm saying. So here he is. He did a sit down with Megyn Kelly, which pisses me off because I want to sit down with Dr. Marty Makary. Why don't we have one?
Oh, I think you meant Megyn Kelly.
She's got Megyn Kelly. She's got a stupid show on frickin' Sirius that no one listens to, and she gets a sit down with the FDA guy. How come I don't get it?
I just want to ask her if Ozempic burps are as gross as I've heard.
So, yeah, I know. So here's his bombshell. Ready?
Today, we're announcing we are removing industry members, pharma members from FDA advisory committees. I was shocked when I learned that employees of big pharma companies sit on FDA advisory committees as members of those committees. So we're going to be replacing them whenever statutorily possible with patients and family caregivers. We are going to be inviting pharma companies to send representatives to the advisory committees, but they can sit with the rest of the public and watch and pose questions as the rest of the American public can. So
that speaks to it's not. It doesn't stop at FDAers leaving and going directly to big pharma to work pushing the drugs they just approved while government employees. It's also, while the FDA is approving those drugs, big pharma right now has a role in pushing for it, in advising the people who are the decision makers. And so on that second piece of it, at least, right now, you're stopping that.
We're stopping that for every committee where we can by statute, and we're replacing them with patients and family caregivers. And the idea is that there should not be a cozy relationship. There should be a user-friendly process for industry, but not a cozy relationship. Because let's be honest, a lot of people in the United States feel that the system is rigged. A lot of people feel that the relationship is too cozy between pharma and regulators. And so
I hate that he uses the term feel. A lot of people feel. No, a lot of people know. A lot of people know that the system's corrupt. A lot of people know that the system is corrupted by big pharma money. A lot of people know this. They don't feel this. It's not a feeling. It's something I know. What do you want to say, Kurt?
Didn't know. I did not know. When he just said, I thought it was former employees of big pharma are sitting on the FDA.
No, it's current.
So they have a job.
They have a job at big pharma, and they sit on the committees that approve drugs right now.
That I'm blown away by that. That's like, what would be the problem with that?
What, right?
I have both jobs at the same time, regulating and the thing being regulated.
Here we go.
This is an agency that belongs to the American people. And so we can work with pharma and at the same time ensure that scientific evaluation process is totally independent. And on those advisory committees, the pharma and device members of those advisory committees will say that they're non-voting members. But that is a sort of a close club of individuals that has a running dialogue, and they meet and they become they become friendly. And it's okay to be friendly, but we need the scientific evaluation, the voting, to be totally independent. And so people ask, are you anti-pharma or pro-pharma?
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is we're pro-pharma, but our evaluation has to be independent. And we cannot have any more indications for chronic pain written for a drug based on a 14-day study where the regulator then goes immediately works for the company.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you say you're pro-pharma? Why wouldn't you say you're pro-citizen? We're not pro-pharma or anti-pharma. We're pro-patient. We're pro-American citizen. Why would you say you're pro-pharma? That's just, even a guy like this, even that guy says, we're pro-pharma. You don't say
He's
that.
saying well, I'll tell you why. Because a bunch of people that don't interpret pharma as something bad as a word, interpret it as modern medicine. That's all they think when they hear that word. So that's why he's saying it that way.
Okay.
Really, this is, let's say there's people that make boats, and then you're a boat inspector, and your job is to look for holes in the fucking boat, right? That should be independent. The guy who makes the boat shouldn't be on the board advising you not to notice a hole in the boat. You're not against boats because you find the holes in the boat.
Right.
You're helping everyone.
Let's see if there's more to this clip.
That's the kind of thing that breeds distrust. And that's why people perceive that this agency, the FDA, has been captured by industry, and it is not captured by industry. It is owned by the American people right now.
Okay. Well, it was captured by industry. That's not a perception. That was a fact. So, and then guess what? He's going to redo the food pyramid. Listen,
Oh, nice. Keep it, as long as we keep it in the Masonic pyramid, that's all I care about.
so this is the new head of the FDA. Sat down with Megyn Kelly. I don't know how the hell she has access. She's got a shitty Sirius XM show. And she's on the good algorithm on YouTube, by the way. She's not considered borderline content. That's what we are.
Oh, I bet
Because
I
if
know how.
we were treated the same way, if she was treated the same way we are, she would get 0 views.
Maybe you should have supported Hamas with your Israel coverage.
Yeah.
How about that?
Uh-huh. So, but
It's a
she's
big
on
mystery.
the good corporate algorithm. And but anyway, here she's going to talk about the food pyramid.
Are we redoing the food pyramid?
We're redoing the food pyramid.
Thank God.
And no longer are we going to say you have to have these calories. It doesn't matter how you get them. Doesn't matter if it's all ultra processed foods. It's just pure calories in, calories out. That dogma, which had no scientific support, was a massively underfunded endeavor. We let the industry tell us as a government what's healthy and what's not healthy. And even with the recent Biden administration suggestion to have front of package labeling, they picked sodium, saturated fat, and added sugar in there. I think they got maybe one thing right out of those 4, but they ignored a giant swath of food ingredients. And so when you ignore 1,000 chemicals, some of which are petrochemicals that have been introduced into the food supply simply because the industry has self-deemed them as safe, when you ignore that, then you can't call something healthy just because it has a low amount of saturated fat.
Mhm,
I mean,
right.
that's old dogma.
It's like Sesame Street.
Yeah.
It's like obvious stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, Megyn, she looks like she's like been waiting to eat until the new food pyramid comes out.
I know.
Megyn, what are you doing?
Megan, have a sandwich in a Kit Kat bar, will you?
Yo, Twinkies are bad, but have one.
She does look.
This is not good. This is like, dude.
So anyway,
Is that-
are you telling me I got to give up Pop-Tarts in my middle years? Is that that just makes me want another Hot Pocket, if you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's going to redo the food pyramid. The food pyramid's always been ridiculous. Saturated fat is. Turns out fat's not bad for you. That was all based on that garbage sugar study, a study that was funded by Big Sugar
Right.
to make people afraid of fat. So they got fat out of the food and they put sugar, injected you with sugar and ultra processed stuff, garbage.
It's such a cliche about the food pyramid, and like they used to say this was good, but obviously it's bad now.
Yeah.
And at this point, I don't understand how people keep getting on the ride again to go, no, they said it's good because I saw it on the TV. It's good.
I know.
It's part of balanced breakfast.
I just check in with the guy on the TV once a week.
We only have breakfast cereal because some weirdo wanted to keep people from masturbating. I mean, it sounds crazy. That's literally why we have that. That's Kellogg.
So I don't even think it's why is it even a food pyramid? Maybe it should be
because they're creeps.
How about it's a food square or a food hexagon? Why is it a food pyramid?
Because it's our national scheme.
Yeah. Eat lots of breakfast cereals. Breakfast cereal is the worst thing you could eat. You want to have even oatmeal. I'm not giving you medical advice, by the way. I'm supposed to say that. I understand. But let me just finish saying that if you give kids oatmeal and cereal, then they actually overeat. They want more food. It makes you want more garbage. But if you feed a kid eggs in the morning, they eat less food. Because they get good fats. They get omega-3s. It's a superfood. They get vitamins, up the yin yang. Feed your kid eggs in the morning. Don't feed your kid breakfast cereal or oatmeal. What do you want to say, Kurt?
Why did he think that breakfast cereal would be a cure for masturbation? Were people masturbating for breakfast until he invented cornflakes?
I know I was.
So you had Wheaties?
That's right. Jack Uger said it's okay if you're pleasuring the horse.
Who's hurt? It's not like a lab experiment with Fauci.
And if your horse's name is Justice, justice is coming.
Hopefully. Thanks to these changes in the law.
So that's I mean, there's a guy, surgeon from Johns Hopkins University saying, hey, we didn't need to be doing these surgeries on pigs. Didn't do anything. We don't need to do this. We need to torture animals. So right there, Biden was allowing all that. That didn't happen during Obama. They didn't stop it. They didn't happen during Biden. It took Trump to do this. It took Trump. Trump is doing. Trump's appointing people like Dr. Marty Makary, like people like Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, like RFK Jr. Isn't it amazing that it took Trump to do this? So it's more than just it's. So no, I'm sorry. The people who say, yeah, when Trump is wrong, we go after him. We let you know. We go after him with both barrels. But when he's doing something great, I'm going to let you know too. So it is a mixed bag. And it's a better mixed bag than we had during Biden. I'll tell you that.
It's previously been a full bag of shit each time.
Yes. Complete full bag.
There was not a mix. There were no peanuts in it. It was just pure shit.
Yeah. So if you're an animal lover and you care about animal rights and welfare, that's a big deal. And so I can't emphasize that enough. This is a great development. And let's get Marty on the show. I reached out to him before he got confirmed, and he said, hey, I got to lay low. Or I'm not doing any interviews until after my confirmation, is what he said.
And maybe we should have Dr. Yo back on, because didn't he get good news?
Oh, so, the doctor who treated me for my vaccine injury, Dr. Yoganandra, or Dr. Yogendra, I just call him Dr. Yo. He wrote a paper 3 years ago. I was one of the data points in that paper. Nobody would print it. They wouldn't print it. He finally got it printed. So they finally got it accepted for publication in a vaccine, what do you call it, journal. And of course he was. And anyway, so yeah, we should have him back on. But this is great news. I'm couldn't be happier to see people like Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, the head of the NIH, Dr. Marty Makary, the head of the FDA, and RFK, the head of HHS. If he could just stop with the anti-Semitism bullshit and stick to what he's supposed to be doing, it'd be a lot better.
Were they testing the puppies for anti-Semitism? That could be what it is.
So, do you think they're going to give him any Trump credit for this? I don't think so. You think the liberals and the animal rights group? Maybe. Who knows? Maybe PETA will. We'll see. I'll give him credit. I ain't waiting for PETA. I'll give him credit. Nice job. All right, we got to say goodbye to Kurt. We have a guest coming on to talk about RFK's first 2 months